Section 7 from Unit 1 or Module 1 in Revealed Geometry is midpoints and bisectors. We're going to go over the second part of that section today, focusing on bisectors. If you didn't get the section on midpoints or the part on midpoints from Section 7, that was a previous video. And so bisects means it splits into two equal parts. I said before that the definition of midpoint was probably best if you said that a midpoint bisects the segment, but we didn't know what that word bisects means. This is the most important note today. You need to know what bisects means. Bisects means it splits into two equal parts. From the book, it says because the midpoint separates the segment into two congruent segments, we can say that the midpoint bisects the segment. Also, any segment, line, plane, or point that bisects a segment is called a segment bisector. And so I'm going to throw a point down here on the segment. That point, I'll go ahead and name M. And so that's the midpoint. It bisects the segment. It splits it into two equal parts. However, if that was not a point, but a segment of its own, we'll go MT here. All right. And segment MT is a segment bisector of segment PQ. That still means it splits up. Or you could say segment MT bisects segment PQ, which means segment PQ is still split into two equal parts. Remember those little tick marks mean congruent, split into two congruent parts. So a plane can be a bisector. All right, a line can be a bisector. You have to know what's getting bisected. So in this case, I would say segment MT bisects segment PQ. So segment PQ is getting bisected. It's getting split up. Jumping right into examples. All of our examples are going to deal with midpoint because that's kind of the unit we're on here, or not the unit, but the lesson. Find the measure of segment RT if T is the midpoint of segment RQ. So it's telling you to start out two important pieces of information. One, what are we trying to find? Always know that because sometimes it's a part of the line. Sometimes it'll be the whole segment. Sometimes it'll just be the variable X. So always know what is the question asking? And then it uses the word midpoint, which we hopefully know means that it splits the segment into two equal parts. And so I'm going to go ahead and set those two parts equal. So 2x plus 3 equals 4x minus 5. I need to solve this, so I'm going to minus 2x from both sides. I always like to use the x's first if I can, or move the variable first if I can. So I'm minus 2x from both sides. I get 3 equals 4x minus 2x is just 2x minus 5. So now I'm going to add 5 to both sides, add the 5 over. I get 8 equals 2x. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I get 4 equals x, or I could say that as x equals 4. Now, the question wasn't asking for that, though. The question was asking for RT. So RT equals 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3. Notice I put parentheses in place of x. I'm going to substitute in. I am going to plug this 4 in for x. So 2x plus 3, except for now x equals 4. So I'm going to plug the 4 in. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. And so RT equals 11. So you set the parts you can't equal, solve it, plug the answer in. Always make sure you know what the question's asking. You try it. Pause now. Give it a try. All right. Hopefully you've unpaused the video because you're ready to move on. And so 3a equals a plus 14. I minus a from both sides. I divide by 2 on both sides. And now I have to plug it in. XY is what it's looking for. 3 times A is 7. And so XY equals 21. Next example, same kind of thing, midpoint. Midpoint means it splits it into 2 equal parts. So I want to go ahead and get started right off the bat. 5x minus 3 equals 2x plus 9. That was a key word, midpoint. However, it's asking for AC. So before I go any further, I am going to have you make a mental note. AC is the whole segment. All right, so not just the part, but the whole thing. But first, I got to figure out what is x. So I go ahead and do the math. Minus 2x to both sides. Add 3 to both sides. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 4. Now, I want to first plug in where I can. So I'm going to plug in for AB. 5 times 4 minus 3 is 20 minus 3 is 17. AC is, if this part is 17, these two parts are equal, so this part's 17. So AC is 34. Again, solve what you can and then figure out what the question's asking for. Here's the next you try. Pause the video. If you need to go back and look at the example, do so, but give it a try. All right, hopefully you've unpaused the video because you're good to go. You're ready to see if you did it right. And so I did 11x minus 4 equals 5x plus 20. I minus the 5x over. I added the 4 over. I divided by 6. All right. And then I had to plug in. I plugged in over here because to me that was going to be easier. 20 plus 20 made that part 40. If this part is 40, then this part is 40. And so the whole thing, PR, is 80. Seems pretty straightforward, but a lot of the questions on the homework, you're going to have to draw out the picture for yourself so that you can visualize it to be able to set it up properly. So don't be afraid to do that. The homework assignment is not very long, 40 through 48 even. All right. Just 5 questions. Again, you may not have finished the homework assignment from the first half of this lesson, so work on that too if you need to. Best of luck.